Being stuck in a rank is a feeling much too familiar to all competitive players. No matter if you're an Iron player or a Diamond player, you've likely felt stuck in a rank throughout your journey. For that, we've created this list. Find your rank and see if our tips help you improve. Hello, my name is Trey, and today I'll be your guide. Hopefully after this video, you'll understand some things that you can improve throughout your gameplay. Understand that this isn't a black and white list, however. We're all different. If you see something that may help you improve that isn't in your specific rank, feel free to implement it into your gameplay. Before going into the tips that you're all here for, let's talk about our question of the day. Today's question is surely an interesting one. Do you think that you should get some kind of compensation for losing a few games in a row or a boost for winning a few in a row? I think that this would give players much more incentive to play long term. What do you guys think though? Would this ruin competitive integrity? Let us know in the comments down below and we'll be sure to read as many as we can.
First off, let's talk about Iron. Players stuck in the Iron rank likely have come from other games that are not first-person shooters, or they have simply not yet adapted to the mechanics of Valorant. What I have noticed through many hours of coaching Iron players is that they often choose to jump into the deep end, trying to learn complex plays before getting down the basics of the game. If you find yourself stuck in this rank, you should first focus on these three things: aim, recoil control, and ability usage. Let's go over these each really quickly for all of you to start improving and begin climbing the ladder throughout the game. Regarding aim, you want to find a perfect sensitivity and practice flicking in the practice range. After that, or at the same time depending on your preference, you can also practice recoil control by finding the targets on the practice map and trying to land all your shots in the middle of the ring on the second closest distance. Lastly, regarding ability usage, you want to make sure that you fully understand what every ability does by either watching tutorial videos or playing the characters yourself. This will give you a solid baseline and set you up for future ranks as well. If you've reached bronze, nice job. You've probably learned the basics of the game and are now able to focus on abilities much more. With that said, however, what we've noticed is that although we don't expect bronze players to master their characters, players in this rank often tend to not use their abilities at all. Whether this is due to a fear of misplay or simply because they forget, not using abilities will significantly reduce anyone's ability to perform well throughout their games. Because of this, you should focus on bettering yourself in this area as soon as possible. Although you may feel stressed in game, the best way to go about improving in this area is simply by recording your matches and watching them over, specifically looking for ability usage or therefore lack of. If you notice that you're not using abilities at specific periods of time, try to acknowledge that fault throughout your games. If you become proactive enough, you'll be able to fix this issue fairly quickly, helping you improve in an efficient manner. Moving on to the silver rank, the main issue that we see is failure to acknowledge team, or more specifically, a refusal to play around the positioning of teammates throughout the round. On attack specifically, when pushing in or holding a site after you planted the spike, you should rely more on your teammates for knowledge if nothing else. Let me explain. For instance, if you're in a 2v2 after the bomb has been planted and you feel like your teammate will likely lose a 1v1, you shouldn't watch the same angle that he is watching simply because you think that he won't win the duel. This will put you in a massive disadvantage if you're pushed from any other angle. Because of this, even if your teammate does die, you can switch angles and play more passive. Contrarily, if you are in a 2v1 for instance, you shouldn't run out and hunt for a kill just for the sake of doing so. Although kills do impact your elo, they are not worth round losses. Instead, you should play with your teammates even if you don't think he's the best player. This will allow you to trade for one another, practically ensuring a win if you outnumber the enemy. Furthermore, even on defense, you have to understand that playing around your teammate is crucial for becoming effective. For instance, if you notice that a Cypher holding site with you has placed his tripwire in a choke, even if you wanted to push past that area initially, you likely shouldn't. That trapwire is likely there for a reason. Pushing through it will not only put you at a disadvantage, but also ruin the play that your Cypher has made. Ultimately, just understand what your team is wanting to do and try to play around it as best as you can. What we've seen from way too many people attempt in gold is playing too aggressive in an attempt to solo carry matches. This is simply not the way to win. This will only act to separate you from your team and most of the time give the enemy a free 5v4 just because you didn't wait a few extra seconds. Instead, you should focus on playing your role. What we mean by that is playing in a way that will allow you to utilize your abilities for maximum effectiveness. For instance, if you're a smoke-based character like Omen or Brimstone for instance, you generally want to push last or almost last. On the contrary, however, even if you're playing a duelist, you shouldn't be too aggressive. Instead, wait for your team to be set up before you initiate the push. Smokes and slows, for instance, should go down before anybody peeks. This is because it will give everyone more cover, and the duelist pushing in first may not even have to sacrifice his own life for a bomb plant. In conclusion, wait for your team, don't bait or push in alone, play around abilities, and you should be good to go. With that said, however, we want to make one thing clear. Don't always play passive just because you think it will result in you living. At some point when playing attack, someone will have to initiate. If that player makes a call that signifies their intent to push further in an attempt to gain more control of the site or get a kill, don't neglect them. You should always play around this type of call simply because if performed correctly, it could lead to an early advantage in the round. Ultimately, the idea is to not push alone. If you want to make a play like that, call it out to your teammates in hope that they assist you in your push. Platinum is the rank where many players tend to get a bit more serious. Desiring that oh-so-esteemed diamond rank, players in Platinum often give it their all to win, trying to utilize teamwork as much as they can. What brings many players down, however, is refusal to alter their play throughout the game. Because many want to win so badly, they stick to what is most familiar to them. Although this could be beneficial short term, it can also have some very negative impacts throughout the length of the game. For instance, on attack, if players know that you tend to push one specific area every round, they might decide to stack it with 1 or 2 extra players, practically ensuring that you'll lose the duel if you continue to peek. On defense, attackers may be easily able to smoke you out or even utilize something like a Molotov to force you out of your position and kill you. Not only should you alter your holding position on defense, but with some characters, you may also want to change up your ability placement. For example, if you're holding a site with Cypher, don't put your trapwires and camera in the same spot every round. You should know a few spots for every map that you can place each of your abilities in order to remain unpredictable throughout the game. In Diamond, the main thing that we happen to see is that players refuse to flex at the start of the game. If you reach this rank, it is obvious that you understand the game well enough to know what you're good at and what you're not. However, if you want to win more games consistently and reach the Immortal rank, you will need to learn how to flex to at least 2 or 3 agents. Furthermore, when picking what agents to practice over a period of time, make sure they vary in use. For example, don't pick to learn Phoenix and Reyna if your main is Raze. They will ultimately cement you in the same role even further, limiting the amount of impact you can have on your team prior to the game even starting. What we found to be the sweet spot is 4 characters from different roles. Perhaps a duelist, a controller agent, a support, and a character that gains information like Cypher or Killjoy. By following this format, you should be able to mold to practically any team composition that your team chooses while still being able to master each character individually. Ultimately, this is the goal, a balance between mastery and flexibility. If you are Immortal, you're already in the top 1% of all players. You understand the basics, the advanced mechanics, and everything in between. Because of this, the main tip that we have for you guys to finally reach that Radiant rank is to make more callouts prior to the round starting. Many players choose not to do this or simply neglect the help that it can have throughout the round. For instance, if you're a Cypher and you have been holding B on bind, perhaps you want to place a trapwire pretty deep in the choke in B main and then hold mid. A callout like this will help the teammate that normally holds mid position himself better, knowing that he will have an ally by his side. Simple information like this can truly impact the outcome of a round, especially in such a high rank. Furthermore, even throughout the round, you should be calling things like ability usage. For example, if you're pushing a site and you see a Sage, calling something like Sage, no slows, might tell your team that it's okay to push in and overwhelm the Sage as she is backing up. The idea of this is to make plays based on calls, something that you can't particularly do if everyone refuses to utilize their microphones in order to provide information to the rest of their team. Again, because this is such a high rank, it can surely make a difference in the long run. We know that some of this information may seem a bit confusing at first, but if you're wanting to improve as fast as possible, you should definitely visit ProGuides.com. From there, our pros can directly help you with any area of the game, no matter your rank or personal faults. If you do choose to check out the site, we recommend our new VOD review system. In less than 24 hours, our pros will return a full analysis to you for a fast, effective, and easy experience. You can also take a look at our live sessions where pros are online and ready to assist you right away, helping you improve on your own time rather than having to wait. These methods are by far the best ways to improve quickly. You will be able to get better in the areas that will help you the most, allowing you to reach your rank goals.
We hope that the information we went over today helped you figure out exactly what areas you may need to improve in order to move on to the next step regarding your rank. If you see anything on here that you may want to try implementing into your gameplay, give it a shot, even if it's not placed at your specific rank. The reason we separate the information the way we do is because some players would likely benefit from some things more than others. For instance, making a call in Silver probably won't result in the same response as it would in Immortal rank. At the same time, however, Learning basics in Iron and Bronze will result in your time spent being much more beneficial compared to doing things the same in a rank like Diamond. This isn't to say that calling in Bronze and improving aim in Diamond won't help, however. Simply find your weak points and try your best to improve in that area. With that said, we hope you all have great games, and we'll see you in the next one.